राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us come to 10th mantra. First Mundaka, second Khanda. There are 3 Mundakas in total. Each Mundaka has 2 chapters, and chapter is called as Khanda. इष्टापूर्तं मन्यमाना वरिष्ठं नान्यच्छ्रेयो वेदयन्ते प्रमूढाः नाकस्य पृष्ठे ते सुकृतेऽनुभूत्वा इमं लोकं हीनतरं वा विशन्ति. We had seen in the last session that this mantra is addressing a doubt that might be there in different sadhakas. If I live a good life, do good work, isn't that sufficient? What is the need for anything more? This Upanishad mantra says, no doubt there is a great accomplishment compared to somebody who is not doing any work. Compared to tamas, rajas is better. But that alone cannot be the end goal. One, because result is uncertain, and second, because result is impermanent. You had seen the example of a stone being thrown up in the air. No matter where it goes, how high it goes, it has to come down. So these karmas are like that stone. It will take us up. But the karma, it doesn't have the ability to keep us there. At some point it has to come down once that Karma Phala is exhausted. So this Upanishad mantra says, karma and Karma Phala, that alone cannot be goal of life. This is how the sadhaka had started his journey. He had desire for Karma Phala. Upanishad mantras came and said, if you have that desire, there is a way to get those Karma Phalas, and not only what you want, much more than what you want. That is where the advice of karma was given, greatness of karma, the power of karma, something which is done diligently. All of that was praised. Now same Upanishad is coming and saying that also has limited results. One thing to keep in mind, if somebody has mastered karma, just because he is going further in his journey doesn't mean he will lose everything that he has gained through karma or his skill set that he has gained through karma. The next mantra is going to talk about devotion. Now that person who has mastered karma, his efficiency, dexterity in doing things, when he starts living the life of a devotee, that dexterity is intact. It is not something that is going to get erased because he has moved on to the next step. In fact, he will get the benefits of karma and something more. That something more is joy and peace in life, which was not promised for a karmi. Somebody who was doing only karma, Upanishad mantra did not say he will experience joy and peace. But for a bhakta, Upanishad says that is going to be his mindset. So next mantra is ideal devotee, ideal grahastha, ideal vanaprasthi. That is the specific reference over here. What is the sadhana that they do? How is their personality like? And what is the result that they gain living a life in this way? 3 things are highlighted. Sadhana, personality, result of a bhakta who lives God-centered life. Let us see the mantra. Tapah Shraddhe ye hyupavasantyaranye. Did you all find the mantra or not? First Mundaka, second Khanda. If it's your Gita Press book, it will be 39 page number. 39th. Tapah Shraddhe. Tapah Shraddhe ye hyupavasantyaranye. Shanta vidvamso bhaikshcharyam charantah. Shanta vidvamso bhaikshcharyam charantah. Suryadvarena te virajah prayanti. Suryadvarena te virajah prayanti. Yatramrutah sapurusho hyavyayatma. Yatramrutah sapurusho hyavyayatma. Together. Tapah Shraddhe ye hyupavasantyaranye. Shanta vidvamso bhaikshcharyam charantah. Suryadvarena te virajah prayanti. Yatramrutah sapurusho hyavyayatma. Let us see the literal meaning first. What is the sadhana that this person does? First sadhana is tapaha. And there is a specific meaning Shankaracharya gives for each of these words. What is tapaha? Bhagavan Shankaracharya says tapaha means doing one's own enjoined duties diligently. According to the stage in life, whatever duty is enjoined to them, doing that well is tapaha. This is a very unique definition. He says we don't have to do anything different. Whatever we are supposed to do, if we do it well, That alone is Tapah. We'll come back to these words, just literal meaning first. Then Shraddhe. Tapah Shraddhe or Shraddha. Shraddha in general, you will translate it as faith. But here Shankaracharya translates it as devotion. Person who is having Tapah, austerity in life in the form of doing his enjoined duties. And the second one is Bhakti. That is his main sadhana. In other words, Upasana. Bhakti is also called as Upasana. Now, what is his personality like? 4 indicators are given. Aranye upavasanti. Aranye upavasanti means, literal meaning is lives in forest. That is why this mantra, Shankaracharya says it is relevant mainly for Vanaprasthis. Vanam means forest, Prasthana means one who has moved towards that forest. But the implied meaning is one who likes solitude. If he has to meditate upon Bhagwan in that way, has to do Upasana of Bhagwan, he cannot do it while walking and talking. He needs to sit down in one place and do it. That is why this Aranyavasa, seeking a solitary place, is encouraged. If not moving to a solitary place, at least during our day, seeking some time of solitude. Moving to a forest is good on paper. Parvataha dureshu ramyaha. Forests look good only from far. So what is indicated over here? That in the busyness that this person lives, he is trying to seek some time in solitude. That is his personality. First one is Aranya Upavasanti. Second is his mind is peaceful. Shantaha. Sense organs are not excited. That is the second indicator of this bhakta. Loves solitude, peaceful in his mind. Vidvamsaha bhaikshcharyam charantaha. So Vidvamsaha word, Shankaracharya says, refers to a grahastha. Grahastha, but one who is living a God-centered life. Along with doing his duties, his mind is on Bhagavan. One part of his mind always thinks about Bhagavan, with the other part he is doing his work. Vidvamsaha bhaikshcharyam charanta. So what is the third lifestyle or personality of this person? Bhaikshcharyam charanta. This mantra is very interesting. Literal meaning says something, implied meaning says something else. Now if you said Vidvamsaha is grahastha, how can you say Bhaikshcharyam charantaha? Bhaikshacharya means asking for bhiksha. And that is allowed only for Brahmacharya ashrama and Sannyasa ashrama. Grahastha ashrama in particular is the one who is giving bhiksha. So here Bhaikshacharya refers to non-hoarding. Bhaikshacharya means keeping the mind available, mind not preoccupied by hoarding things which are needed for future or hoarding more than what is needed for tomorrow. This is the third facet of his personality. The first one was Aranya Upavasanti, love solitude. Second facet is Shantaha, peaceful. Third facet is Bhaikshcharyam charantaha, doesn't keep more than what he needs. Travels light. Fourth facet of his personality is in the second line, Virajaha. Surya dvarena te virajaha prayanti is there, right? So Virajaha is that person. Raja means impurity. Viraja means one from whom impurities have gone away. The tendency to commit sin, tendency to commit something wrong, that has reduced. Pressure of vasanas have reduced. That is why he gets the title Virajaha. In doing punya karma, our inspiration could be so many. Guru has said that is why this person does punya karma. Elders have said that is why he does punya karma. In doing papa karma, what is the main inspiration? Our own vasanas. Papa karma, even if Guru tells don't do it, even if elders say don't do it, if that vasana is strong, still this person ends up doing it. So who is Virajaha? One from whose heart pressure of vasanas have reduced. Raja means impurity, Virajaha means no impurity. This is his personality. Loves solitude. If you look at his mind, you will find very quiet, peaceful mind, joyous mind. Doesn't hoard too much. See, non-hoarding is possible only if that person has devotion. Yoga Kshema, Bhagavan is going to take care. With that mindset, he doesn't get overly anxious about future. Whatever extent is needed for Jivan Nirvaha, it is not impractical. Jivan Nirvaha means to get along with day-to-day life, that much he is able to, that much he keeps. But beyond that, he doesn't hoard due to anxiety. And the fourth facet was Virajaha, the one whose impurities have been washed away. Okay, so what were the three things this mantra was highlighting? Sadhana of an ideal grahastha vanaprastha bhakta. Personality of an ideal grahastha vanaprastha bhakta. Third one was result of such a lifestyle. Where do they go? Surya dvarena te prayanti. When they depart from this body, they go through the bright path, Uttarayana. Surya dvarena te virajaha prayanti. Meaning, even after departing from this body, they experience good results along the way. And one commentator says, if their punya karma is high, and if they get knowledge en route, they can directly get liberation in that journey itself. Surya dvarena te virajaha prayanti. Okay, they go through Surya Marga, they go through the bright path. Where do they go? Yatra amrutaha sa purushaha hi avyaya Atma. They go to that eternal world, amrutaha, where that Purusha, Hiranyagarbha, avyaya Atma, one who is immutable, he resides. What is called as Brahmaloka, Satyaloka in Upanishad, in Puranas it will be called as Vaikuntha, Saketa, Goloka, Kailasa. Place where Bhagavan Vishnu lives, Vaikuntha Loka. So where do they go? They go to Vaikuntha Loka. They have lived a good life, had devotion to Bhagavan. All these qualities were there. And why is it called as Avyaya Atma or Amrutaha? Compared to Manusha Loka, that Loka stays all the way until Pralaya. Brahmaloka doesn't get dissolved. And that Jiva in Brahmaloka, they will stay all the way until Mahapralaya. There are different types of Pralaya. In some Pralayas, first three worlds are dissolved. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. But only in Mahapralaya, all the Lokas get dissolved. And Brahmaloka stays all the way until Mahapralaya. So if they have gone to Brahmaloka, they stay there happily all the way until Mahapralaya. Because duration is longer compared to human birth, it is called as Amrutam. It is called as Avyaya. Now Hiranyagarbha, Purushaha hi avyaya Atma, it was said, right? Hiranyagarbha means total subtle mind. Consciousness presiding over total subtle mind. That consciousness is all pervading. That subtle mind is all pervading. Hiranyagarbha is not there only in Brahmaloka. But the unique expression of that joy, unique expression of that bliss, that is experienced in Brahmaloka. That is the idea here. That's why it is said, Avatara is possible even of those who are in Brahmaloka. If Bhagavan wants to send, Brahmaji wants to send somebody to fix something here, he can send one of his residents from Brahmaloka. He say, you fix things here, do whatever work has to be done, and you come back. How do they get moksha in Brahmaloka? In Brahmaloka, Ishtadevata gives Mahavakya Upadesha. Brahmaji will give Mahavakya Upadesha. Kailas to no problem. Because Lord Shiva takes Vedanta almost every day. Dakshinamurti Avatara is for that. Teaching Avatara, that is Bhagwan Shiva. That is the idea. Instead of repeated rebirth, if somebody lives a devoted life, they go to higher worlds where the birth and death cycle is reduced. Although it is not absolute moksha, because duality is still there. Until the knowledge is gained and conditioning is understood as false. Upadhis are understood as false. Until then there is no absolute moksha. But at least the repeated cycle of birth and death is reduced. To that extent, it is moksha. We were saying in Sanskritam class on Tuesday, Sad Dhatu has three meanings. Upanishad, which is made from Sad Dhatu. Visharana, Gati, Avasadana. Visharana means you gain Brahma Vidya, there is no more transmigration. Jivatva is ended for good. Gati means if somebody has no clue, at least they will get introduction. That this is Brahman, this is how I should approach the subject matter. So Upanishad will do that also. Either it will destroy ignorance or it will lead us towards Brahman. Third meaning is avasadhanam. Sad dhatu, third meaning is avasadhanam. Avasadhanam means to loosen. Loosen what? Loosen this repeated cycle of birth and death. How does Upanishad do that? By giving this teaching of Upasana. Okay, so this is a general idea of the mantra. Now let us think a little more about this mantra. Now compared to the previous mantra, Ishtapurtam Manyamana Varishtam. Ishta karma means karmas which are done for oneself. Purta karma means done for society. Now this person had two errors. One, he started thinking, Ishta and Purta karma, they alone are end goal of life. They will alone give me supreme most result that I am looking for. That itself is moksha. Second error was, he said, Brahma Vidya is not needed. Na anyat shreyaha vedayante pramodaha. There is nothing more than doing good in this world. Then Upanishad said, this is not the right way to think. If you are doing good work, why don't you move on to the next step? Now Upanishads might have said, but over a long period of time, his own mind starts to think in this way. So think of it as two stages. Stage one, where predominance is of Rajoguna, dynamism, likes work, lot of things. Working is good, but you ask him, where are you getting joy from? What is your origin of joy? He says, origin of joy is praise. Origin of joy is getting that result. good work but wanting praise and recognition or some sense object. When that is attained, he says, I am happy. This is stage 1 when it comes to sadhaka's journey. Now when he starts doing satsang, when he starts thinking about life in a different way, when he starts observing devotees around him who are doing the same work as him, but they have something different, their mind is more peaceful, they are more joyous in life. Slowly he starts feeling whatever I thought was joy is actually a bondage. Expecting praise and recognition, what was his main motivation earlier? Now he starts feeling that same expectation of praise, expectation of recognition, that becomes my bondage. If some work is given, he says, I could have done it happily, remembering Bhagwan, and would have been happy after doing that work. But if I did that work, efforts were the same, and expected praise which did not come, then in spite of doing all the hard work, I am miserable. That is when his mind starts shifting towards Sattva Guna. So mantra 11, predominance is of Sattva. Mantra 10, predominance is of Rajas. In a Karmi, predominance is of Rajoguna. In a Bhakta, in a Karma Yogi, predominance is of Sattva Guna. The same 11th mantra, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan will present this sadhaka as Karma Yogi. They are not different people. One who has devotion in the heart and he is doing the work to please that Bhagwan towards whom he has devotion, such a person is called Karma Yogi. That is the first point, that it's a journey, it's an evolution in his spiritual journey. From seeking recognition to deriving joy in doing work without seeking anything. The main question we should ask ourselves is, what is the source of my joy? If source of my joy is Karma Phala, source of my joy is Kartrutva, doership, I did it. Or source of my joy is Bhoktrutva. Bhoktrutva is in the form of praise and recognition. If only when I experience that I feel joy, then that is 10th mantra. It's a noble life. We should not think that this person is adharmic. He is living a very good life, doing all good things, but these two things are still there. Expectation of praise, recognition, and Karma Phala. And if we ask ourselves and we find our source of joy is in doing the duty. Source of joy is in remembering Bhagwan. That is mantra number 11. Main question is, what is the source of joy? Now the first sadhana that he does is Tapah. In Tapah, one thing to appreciate is, tapas is not same for everybody. And Bhagwan Krishna says we don't have to torture the body in the name of tapasya. So what is Tapah according to Shankaracharya here? Doing the duties enjoined diligently. Now the moment somebody says, do your duty diligently, the question will be, which duties? How do I know what is my duty? So our Upanishads say, before you answer that question, answer this question, what is your identity? Because duty will be enjoined based on identity. They say roles and responsibilities, right? Responsibility is enjoined according to the role. So what is your role in life? What is your identity in life? That is the first question we have to ask. So 4 roles are prescribed. We have to fit in one of the 4. Either a person is student, brahmachari, or he is grahastha, householder. Or third one is vanaprastha, retired life, you can say, to make it simple. And fourth one is renunciate or a sannyasi. Once we define these roles for ourselves, you will realize duties become very clear. If we vaguely think about duties, everything looks like a duty. But once we identify which ashrama we belong to, slowly duties will get clarified for each ashrama. If you say brahmacharya ashrama, what is the main duty of a student? To study. Another duty is daily sadhanas. Gayatri japa, sandhya vandanam. That will be the duty enjoined. Now, these duties look nice when you write it down. But the challenge is, whenever you start living a life to fulfill those duties, you will realize even those simple duties become difficult. There will be so many other things which might distract. Not getting distracted by those things, Bhagavan says, is tapasya. Those things which you are supposed to do, when we start doing that, in that we will find so many things which are obstructing. Now for a grahastha, moment you say you fit under householder category, there will be different types of duties. Duty towards family will come. Now that was not the primary thing for a brahmachari. In student life, if somebody is in university, let us say, his first duty is towards your study. In grahastha this duty is one of the important ones. Duty towards family. Whoever needs in the family, making sure that we are at least concerned about it. Then there is duty towards work. Whatever work that person is doing, there is some sense of duty that is enjoined. Then there is social duty. Purta karma also he does. If he is part of society, then there is some duty towards society also. Then there are religious duties. Sadhana is also one duty. All of that is part of grahasthashrama. Now, according to Shankaracharya ji, doing these 4 things well, that alone is tapasya. See, tapasya is something, when we start doing it, we'll realize we have to train the mind, we have to tame the mind to do it. Mind will naturally not want to do all these things. So we should just look around and see what are the things that I am supposed to be doing. It might be a simple thing like folding clothes. If that is my duty, he says doing that diligently is tapasya. Because if you just leave the mind like that, it doesn't want to do it. So tapasya is that where we have to bring the mind, tame the mind, train the mind to do it. Then for vanaprastha, what is the duty? Vanaprastha duty, what is not the duty is mentioned first. Less and less social obligation. Social obligation is not duty of vanaprastha. And a simple equation is, whatever is our age, that much percentage of time with Bhagavan. Means throughout the day should be filled with spiritual activities. That time which he did not get in Grahastha-ashrama, if he has lived his Grahastha-ashrama well, done satsang, done little bit of sadhana, before going to work, after coming from work, now when he has time, he can expand it further. Grahastha-ashrama is the golden age of our spiritual journey. Because body is healthy, you have time and interest also. Everything to come together is not easy. So that is Vanaprastha ashrama. And the last one is Sannyasa ashrama, where the duty mainly becomes removing ignorance. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Removing jivatva, removing avidya, that is a single pointed responsibility. Removing adhyasa, if you want one word, removing the superimposition, that is the primary responsibility in sannyasa ashrama. Now to do all of that also is not easy. That is why it is called as tapas. If you just look at the literal meaning, we will find what is tapasya in this. But to not get swayed away by our preferences, not to get stopped by challenges that might come. Overcoming those, that makes it a tapasya. One more point to note about tapasya is our means to enlightenment. Tapasya by itself is not enlightenment. Austerity is our means to viveka, discernment. Austerity by itself is not discernment. Problem can come when a person starts feeling austerity itself is final. Then pride can come, I am an austere person. And once that thought comes or that pride comes, I am doing my duties well. That also is not served us good. Because that tapasya was to remove and loosen this ahankar, weaken this ahankar. But if you are not alert, that same tapasya becomes a means of strengthening ahankar. So that is the point of tapas, tapashraddhe. There is a text called Aparokshanubhuti, where sadhana chatushtaya is described. Shankaracharya, who is the composer of that text, he says, how will we get sadhana chatushtaya? Swavarnashrama dharmena tapasa haritoshanat. Sadhanam prabhavet pumsam vairagyadi chatushtayam. He says, by doing our enjoined duties very well, Swavarna ashrama dharma. What is our mindset? What is our duty? Keeping that in mind, doing those duties, that itself is tapas, tapasa. And haritoshanat, pleasing Bhagavan, living a devoted life. That alone will bring, those things alone will bring sadhana chatushtaya for us. Okay, so this is the meaning of the word tapaha. Second word is Shraddha. Shraddha means devotion or bhakti. Now this second word, second sadhana, we have to take support of how Shankaracharya has defined Upasana. How do we meditate upon God? How do we increase our devotion to Bhagavan? There are several ways to look at it. You can look at it from Navada Bhakti standpoint also. 9 steps to grow in devotion. But today let us look at it from Upasana standpoint. how Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji says one has to do Upasana. You can think of it as 4 steps which are important in Upasana. The first step is we have to recognize our mind needs a support to focus. Some support you have to give if you want this mind to stay there. You cannot just say, let me focus my mind. What is the question you will ask? Focus my mind on what? Then you take a flame of a candle. Focus your mind on this candle, the flame. Second point, Shankaracharya says that support which you take has to be endorsed by scriptures. Choose a support which is given in Shastra. That's why flame and other things, they are okay. But traditional Upasana, if we have to do, we have to take something which is enjoined in scriptures. The reason for that is, if we want final result of Upasana which has been promised by scriptures, then we have to follow all the steps which they are giving us. If I meditate upon this chair and I say I want the result of Chitta Vishalata, going to some loka, Upanishads will say you did not follow the steps that we gave. Support has to be what is there in Upanishads, what is there in Vedas, Shastra. So what are some examples of support? Om is one very popular support. But also remember that support has to be very lovable and dear to us. Then only mind will go there. Mind will not go towards something which is not a source of joy. So support has to be lovable. So Om is one example. Another example is sun. Sun is one example. Moon is another example. Those are the supports which are given in Shastra. Another very popular support is form of the Lord. We should remember that is a support. Mind effortlessly goes towards it. That is why our Rishi said, have an Ishta Devata. Everybody might not connect with one form. He says, have one form that you connect with. Okay, that is the second step. What was the first step? Recognizing the need for support. Mind cannot get single-pointed, cannot focus if there is no support. Once you recognize it, which support should I pick? Pick one which is lovable, dear to you, but it should be from scriptures, from Shastra. Third step of Upasana is, in that support, I should maintain steady thought, remembrance of Bhagavan. They are not particular about what support you choose, as long as it is from the scriptures. They say the third step is more important, where we are maintaining a steady thought that this is my Bhagavan. One who is all-knowing, all-powerful. He is appearing in this particular form. So maintaining a steady thought of Bhagavan, who is called as Upasya. Maintaining steady thought of Upasya. Where am I maintaining it? In that support. Support is called as Alambanam. Alambanam. Maintaining steady thought of Upasya in that Alambanam, that is the third step. Okay, Alambanam means support. Upasya is Bhagavan. Whom am I meditating upon? Then the last step is excluding all other thoughts. That also needs some awareness, that also needs some effort. No other thought other than Bhagavan should be interfering my Upasana. Okay. 4 steps. First one is recognizing need for support. Second is choosing support which are from scriptures. That is why 10th chapter Bhagwan gives several vibhutis. He says choose any support. In that support, see me. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi surya yoho. I am the sapidity in water. I am the effulgence in sun, effulgence in moon. Pranavaha sarva vedeshu. I am the Om in Vedas. Shabdakhe paurusham rushu. I am the sound in space. I am the moksha purushartha. Shabdakhe paurusham. Paurusham there means the desire in human beings to seek moksha. That desire is me. All these are supports. But we have to choose one of it. That is the second step. Third step is support is good, but in that support now we have to see Bhagwan. So if it is Saligrama, in that it is Bhagwan Vishnu. In Shivalinga it is Bhagwan Shiva. Shivalinga is my Alambanam. It is my support. In that Alambanam I am seeing Bhagwan Shiva, who is my Upasya. And the last one is, when this similar thought current is there, dissimilar thought current should be kept away. These four things put together is called as Upasana. So if our Alambanam is form of the Lord, that Upasana becomes Puja. We are seeing the form and invoking Bhagavan. That's why the Avahanam is done, all the Upacharas are done. If our Alambanam is Stotram, then the words of that Stotram become Bhagavan. Upasya is Bhagavan in those words. Ityesha Vangmayi Puja, Srimad Shankara Padayoho. Shivamahimna Stotram, towards the end it comes, that whatever we are chanting, it is the verbal worship of the Lord. Same concept, Alambanam, in that you see Upasya. Now you will ask, where did I get all this definition from? So this I have taken from Chandogya Upanishad, introductory commentary, that Shankaracharya ji defines what is Upasana. And I think writing this Sanskrit definition is helpful, at least for this one. Okay, so you can note it down. Sanskrit practice also will happen, how quickly you can write. Upasanam tu yatha shastra samarthitam. Shastra samarthitam. Upasanam tu yatha shastra samarthitam kinchit alambanam upadaya tasmin samana chitta vritti. Samana chitta vritti. Tasmin samana chitta vritti. Santana karanam. Tat vilakshana pratyaya anantaritam. Anantaritam. This is called as Upasana. Now see again, if you have written everything. Upasanam tu yatha shastra samarthitam kinchit alambanam upadaya tasmin samana chitta vritti santanakaranam tat vilakshana pratyaya anantaritam. Whatever we saw as 4 steps, that is the same thing which is mentioned in this. The 4 steps came from this definition. Upasanam tu yatha shastra samarthitam. First is recognize the need for support. But that support has to be endorsed by Shastra. Yatha Shastra samarthitam. Samarthitam means enjoined or endorsed. Kinchit alambanam upadaya. Taking some support which is mentioned in scriptures. What should we do? Tasmin, in that support, samana chitta vritti santana karanam. Maintaining a steady flow of my upasya, whom I am worshipping, in that alambanam. Tat vilakshana pratyaya anantaritam. Step number 4 is excluding all dissimilar thoughts. That also will need some effort. That is why it is called as Upasana. 4 steps. That is the meaning of the word Shraddha. Shraddha is not only faith. Shraddha means Upasana. But the Upasanas which are mentioned in Vedas, they are very traditional Upasanas. But once we understand the essence, then whatever devotional practices we are doing, whatever time we spend in front of our altar, whatever pujas we might be doing, that will become sweeter. The technicality is not to make it more complex. Technicality is to appreciate how can we deepen our practice. Anyway, we are spending time in front of the altar. Now start thinking in this way. This particular Vigraha, which is my Ishta, is my all-pervading Lord who is expressing here. Now in that form, if that is the alambanam I want to take, maintaining steady flow of thoughts. That is why group Upasana is difficult. Do you appreciate? Because alambanam that connects with us is different for different people. That is why Upasana is Purusha Tantra. It depends on the person. They can choose what they want. They can choose which support they want. Vedantic meditation is Vastu Tantra. Vastu Tantra means there are not different ways of choosing Brahman. There is one Brahman, one truth. On that we meditate. That is called as Vastu Tantra. The Vastu decides. Object decides how we should look upon it. In Upasana, person decides. He can choose whatever he wants. Okay. Tapah Shraddhe. Then ye upavasanti aranye. They love solitude. Shantaha. That's a nice word. Shantaha. It is also one metric of whether we are doing our duties well or not. If somebody has this question, how do I know whether I am living life of karma yoga? How do I know if I am living life of devotion? Litmus test is this word, shantaha. If mind is peaceful, that is sign of doing tapah and shraddha well. It's an enviable peace for a karmi. The person who was addressed in 10th mantra, for him it's an enviable peace. You see, the word Shantaha did not come until 10th mantra. All the results were given. You'll go to Swarga, you'll go to good places. Did you see the word Shanta? So peace is only privilege of this 11th mantra sadhaka who is doing his duties and living devoted life. Somebody like our Avadhuta in Srimad Bhagavatam, the king comes to him and says, it looks as though there is a forest fire. In that there is a pond. In that pond there is a small rock which has come out. On that rock you are happily sitting. Tell me what is the secret of your peace. Then Avadhuta, he begins the teaching, Santi me Guruvo Rajan. He says, I have several teachers from whom I have learnt. That is the word Shantaha. Then we saw Vidvamsa is Grihastashrami Sadhaka. Vaikshacharyam Charantaha means one who is not hoarding things. Now what is the result? Surya Dvarena te Virajaha Prayanti. They go towards higher worlds. It could be Vaikuntha, it could be Kailasa, through the bright path. There resides their Ishtadevata, there resides Brahmaji or Hiranyagarbha. And because it is, dissolution doesn't happen frequently, it is called as avyaya. It is not permanent moksha. Shankaracharya raises that as the final point in Bhashya. Some people say this alone is final moksha. Amrutaha is said, right? Amruta means eternal. And avyaya Atma is said, that which doesn't change. Why can't we call this as eternal? So he says, if somebody is identified with the self which is all-pervading, they need not seek any specific loka. All-pervading self, one who has identified, one who knows himself to be that consciousness which is all-pervading, why would they seek to go to a particular loka? So he says, this is not talking about Advaita Jnanam, it is not talking about Kaivalya Moksha. And he says the topic that we were discussing was of Aparavidya. First topic was Karma and second topic is Upasana under Aparavidya. So how come suddenly a result of Kaivalya Moksha will be given in Aparavidya topic? So he says, look at the topic under discussion. It is not talking about final moksha. That topic will begin from 12th mantra, he says. Until now we were just discussing what is the final culmination, highest thing a person can get in Aparavidya. So through karma he can get Swarga. If he does karma plus Upasana, he can go all the way until Hiranyagarbha. That is the maximum achievement. But what we have to take from this in our sadhana to get sadhana chatushtaya, these are the things which we have to practice. Tapah and Shraddha. Doing duties well, living devoted life. How should personality of this person be? Take time out for solitude. Keep the mind peaceful. Non-hoarding. And impurities washed away. Then he is not too concerned about what will happen to me after this body. He says, while living here, right now, may I get the qualifications to gain this knowledge. Not postpone liberation. So the second line becomes invalidated for that person because there is no more coming and going. How does he become Vedanta Sadhaka? That will be mentioned in the next mantra. Okay, there is one question here. I thought Upasana was meditating on Nirguna Brahma per Ishavasya Upanishad. Here mantra 11, it is mentioned that Upasana, you choose your support for meditation, and Upasana, though it sounds like Saguna aspect of Bhagavan. That is true. Sometimes the word Upasana is used with Nirguna Brahma, like for example in 12th chapter. avyaktam paryupasate. Avyaktam is nirguna. Upasate is upasana word is used with nirguna Brahma. So there we have to understand it is referring to nididhyasanam, referring to meditation. But when it comes in this context, or in general, upasana is on saguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma is to be known as one's own nature. Saguna Brahma is to be worshipped. Okay. In Brahmaloka, unique expression of bliss is experienced. Is this due to being Shuddha Sattva in nature? Yes, that is true. The Antakarana, which is available, and the purity which has happened for that Antakarana is something very special. So whenever Antakarana is purified, it has more Sattva Guna, it will experience more bliss. Okay, in that way. Good. So if you can type it beforehand, that way I can pace myself well and take it up in the last few minutes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Happy Navratri.